At Annandale, we use data not only for academic interventions, but also our Tier 1 advisory programming and our Tier 2 and Tier 3 behavior and wellness interventions.
At Annandale, the way we use data when it comes to supporting students' behavior and wellness is at the beginning of the year we'll compile a spreadsheet with data on all of our students' behavior incidents in the last 3 years, their previous year's attendance, and previous year's grades. And then we'll identify students who we predict will struggle based on their data from last year. And those students are supported by what we call an alpha team.
So our alpha team consists of the MTSS support coordinator, the administrator, and then a counselor. And if we do need a clinician or a social worker involved, they're also a part of the process. And each week, we will go through a list of students and actually go through the data. So each individual student will go through, what does their behavior look like? What are their grades look like at this time? What does their attendance look like? And through each thing, we'll also see what is impacting each one of those and how it affects their goal or whatever goal we set for that quarter. We have an alpha team agenda, and it's a rolling agenda.
They've divided the students that they support into 3 groups, and so they have a cadence that they'll follow. So they'll talk about the first third of their students in week 1, and then in week 2 they'll talk about the next third of their students in week 3, and then they'll cycle back to the first group. And so each student's data is being reviewed every 3 weeks. They're doing reflections with students, and the students are looking at their own data.
Mm-hmm. So we started doing a really big focus on self-reflection of what they are doing in the class. So what actions they're doing, and then what impacts it can make, whether it's negative or positive. And so I think it's good for them to understand, like whether you are doing something, whether you're late to class or you're on time to class, how does that impact what's happening for that rest of the day or the rest of that class? And it's not us giving them the answer, it's them actually taking the time to process it and figuring out what they are doing to impact their day, whether it's negative or positive. When you see an improvement within the student and the student doing a self-reflection, but also you see it through the data, depending on what you're kind of focusing on. It's, are you looking at the grades that are improving? If it's an individual class or it is all 7 classes that you're looking at. If we're looking at attendance, whether it is all day attendance or just part day attendance, and then behavior. Are they having less behavior issues in the classroom or whatever they were struggling with?
And that conversation is guided by the data that they're collecting, whether that's attendance data or grade data or teacher feedback